On today's video, we have the first ever Transformers Studio Series rundown, as well as other collector lines. Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video, we're going to be looking at every single Transformers Studio Series release from 2024. As an addition, also every Transformers Collaborative release, as well as every Transformers Comic Edition release. Now, in the past, when we've done Transformers rundowns, we've just done Legacy, the main Generations line. But this year, because I kind of felt like we needed to expand out and cover all collector Transformers, and because I don't have a fourth rundown to do, we're doing a Studio Series rundown as well. So the way this is going to work is that in this video, we're going to cover Studio Series, Collaborative, and Comic Edition. And then in the next video, we will be covering Legacy. And that'll be coming up in a little while. So if you don't want to miss out, hit subscribe and the notification bell and the like button while you're down there if you haven't already. Helps these videos get out to more people, helps this channel continue to grow. So with that said, we are going to be looking at all these releases chronologically through wave number. I've never covered Studio Series like this before. We're just kind of jumping in at the 2024 releases, just so it lines up with what we're covering in the Legacy rundown that will be coming later. That way, we kind of start getting Studio Series included in the overall coverage. Now, that being said, Studio Series isn't that large of a line. There was only 31 releases in 2024, and that's actually kind of minimal, but really manageable at the same time. Though it does start to bring up some questions we'll bring up in a moment. We had 4 collab figures this year, and 4 releases for the comic line, which included 5 figures in total. And that comic line was done for the anniversary of Transformers and the anniversary of the comic. It may not be a thing going forward year to year. Now, the interesting part about Studio Series as a line is when it was first introduced in 2018, it was squarely focused on the live-action movies. All the figures released in Studio Series were based on the live-action movies or their ancillary media. There wasn't any other included universes, just the live-action movies. But as things continued to evolve and we got to a point where we hit an anniversary year for the Transformers 86 movie, they rolled in 86 characters, which were Transformers the movie, the 1986 animated movie. And that still made sense because it still was a movie, it was just an animated one, so it kind of felt like a natural extension of the line. Now going forward, Hasbro did seem to start to run out of characters they could make from the live-action movies. Some of them just aren't really good to translate to toys, others may not be releasable for other reasons, and so the 86 line kind of boosted it. But we're starting to run the course on the 86 line, so now video games have been included into Studio Series as well with the War for Cybertron game. So we have video game stuff, movie stuff that is also G1 stuff, and then live action movie stuff, and the line is kind of losing its identity. And especially going forward, the 2025 Studio Series releases are in the same boxes as the 2025 Age of the Primes releases. There's just a couple little things to make them different. I honestly don't see Studio Series existing beyond 2026 at this point, because in 2026 it'll be the 40th anniversary of the 86 movie, so they're probably going to do a whole line of 86 stuff, and then Studio Series will just kind of go away, and anything that would have been in Studio is just going to get folded into the main line in whatever that looks like in 2027. So breaking down the media sources for 2024 Studio Series releases is as follows. 10 figures were based on the 86 movie. 4 figures were based on concept art for the Bumblebee movie, which was kind of a cool idea to bring in some designs that didn't get made before. 4 figures were based on the War for Cybertron video game. 3 figures were made for Bumblebee. 3 figures for Revenge of the Fallen. Those are all re-releases. 3 figures for Rise of the Beast. One of those is mostly a repack. 2 figures for Transformers 1, which was the current movie. 1 figure for The Last Knight, and 1 figure for Transformers Reactivate, the game that has been canceled. So it was a bit of a weird year where the overwhelming majority of it was G1 again, and then the rest of it was all kind of split up between a couple different sources. So it's just kind of how it goes sometimes. But I think it's interesting to look at. Also, special shout out to my graphic designer, DarkClaw643, for putting together the thumbnail, as well as all the title cards you'll see for the toys as they're being introduced. So let's take a look at all these figures, talk about the ones I got and then the ones I didn't. We're going to go through the entirety of Studio Series, Collab, and Comic Edition, and then we'll take a look at Legacy at a different day. But for now, let's take a look at the Studio Series, Collaborative, and Comic Edition rundown for 2024. Core Class, Wave 9. So first up we have concept art Decepticon Rumble as if he appeared in the Bumblebee movie. This is a figure designed in line with how Soundwave and other characters appeared in the prequel sequence to the Bumblebee movie. And he's got all the traditional features you would expect from a blue guy in G1 styling. He's got the pile drivers, for example. Naturally, he pairs well with Ravage and Soundwave, which we've seen prior. They were in the movie, Rumble wasn't. His alt mode is essentially just a folded up rectangle. And of course, as you'd imagine, said rectangle does fit inside the chest of Soundwave. And while the blasters do fit in the alt mode, you can also combine them to make a pistol for Soundwave. Also in this wave is Decepticon Mohawk from Transformers The Last Knight, appearing in his first ever toy. Core Class, Wave 10. Wave 10's only figure is Steeljaw based on Transformers the movie. This is Steeljaw's first new toy in 38 years, and he really captures all the details. Super blocky, super G1. Now for accessories, you can remove the backpack from Steeljaw and add in a new one, which has a giant speaker attached. Mysterious. Now naturally, Steeljaw is designed to go with the Kingdom, Legacy, or Studio Series version of the blaster. I have the Kingdom one. And of course, Steeljaw's alt mode is a cassette tape to go along with that. However, unlike some other recent cassettes, you're going to end up with a lot of extra parts. Yeah, the speaker and the two backpack pieces have nowhere to go, though you can plug the original backpack onto the back of the tape. Naturally, of course, you can open Blaster's tape door and add Steeljaw in, though he is a little bit tricky. He has a perfect fit scenario going on. And that mysterious speaker, it is intended for Blaster. He had two of these in one episode of G1, and you get one of them here. Hopefully we'll see the other one as well as his final cassette ram horn in the future. Core Class, Wave 11. So next up we have concept art Decepticon Frenzy as if he appeared in the Bumblebee movie. So naturally this is Rumble but in black with red accents, and it's a straight repaint. Same basic features, same basic design, he is basically a concept version of Frenzy. Naturally, same basic alt mode, turn it into a nice little block, and said block fits inside Soundwave's chest almost perfectly. So with Soundwave, Rumble, and Frenzy all together, you have a good little display. Plus now you have two pistols for Soundwave to wield, which is pretty neat. And then rounding out Core Class for not only for the year, but for Studio Series in general, since Core Class is now dead, is Starscream based on his appearance in the Bumblebee movie. Deluxe Class, Wave 23. First up we have Scorponok from Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Appearing mostly in Scorpion mode in the film itself, this is a very impressive looking beast, and it's a cool addition to the lineup. The robot mode is based on the concept art, though I don't believe it was seen in the movie, and it does lead to an army building situation with multiple color schemes. And this initial default purple color scheme is pretty cool, especially with his tail whip. Rounding out the Rise of the Beast Autobots is Wheeljack, better known as Pablo. While not the most exciting color scheme with brown and white, he does look really nice and is pretty well detailed. He does come with a blaster that resembles his G1 counterpart's main weapon, and of course he does turn into the TV repair van, which also gives him his nickname in the fandom, Pablo. It's nice to finally round out the Autobots from Rise of the Beast, as most of them were made the year the movie came out, but we finally got Wheeljack to finish the crew. And that also means we have all the heroic characters from Rise of the Beast as well, making for a pretty nice display in Studio Series. Deluxe Class, Wave 24. So first up in this wave, you have concept art Sunstreaker as if he appeared in the Bumblebee movie. It's a pretty cool design, and it's kind of interesting to see a version of the character in that style. And then his brother from another universe, Gamer Edition Sideswipe, is based on the War for Cybertron video game, and this time being a new mold matches the design better than the previous Jazz retool he had. Deluxe Class, Wave 25. The only figure in this wave is the Decepticon Ground Soldier from War for Cybertron. This is a heavy retool of the previously released Barricade. Deluxe Class A-Level. Starting off our wave of figures that can be reissued without being part of a wave, we have Bumblebee from Transformers the movie. This is a brand new mold Bumblebee that's different than the Earthrise version we saw before with the Volkswagen, and is more cartoon accurate. He does come with his blaster, and overall I like the proportions. It has a very cool cartoon accurate look, especially with the way that the chest has been done in the accurate direction. And his vehicle mode is downright adorable with the cartoony proportions we would have seen in the original animation with the one big tire, one small tire thing. And as you can see compared to the Volkswagen version to the right, they are completely different molds, but they are about the same size. And you can see how 86 Bumblebee on the left is more cartoony, whereas Volkswagen Bumblebee on the right is more accurate to the Volkswagen vehicle. I also do like having this Bumblebee with the Earthrise Cliffjumper, because now Bumblebee and Cliffjumper are on two different molds, which I think is cool. Plus, this Bumblebee scales well with the Spike Witwicky in armor that we had seen before. The other A-level figure is Optimus Prime from Transformers 1. Now this figure is based on concept art and not the final film, so he's not 100% accurate to what we saw. That being said, he's pretty nice overall, especially including his Energon axe, and a matrix of leadership which not only removes from his chest, but has tabs that fit into slots in his hands. And on top of that, you can also detach his smokestacks to become a pair of blasters. His truck mode is nice and his transformation is pretty fun. It's a cool figure overall. Deluxe Class, Wave 26. First up, we have Megatron from Transformers 1. Much like Prime, he is based on concept art and isn't 100% matched to the final design, though he does have some really interestingly long legs. Overall, he does come with a lot of weaponry, including 2 arm blasters and 2 tank cannons. And in his tank mode, you can rotate the turret, plus he has wheels to roll, so pretty successful. And then our last deluxe figure is Bumblebee from Transformers Reactivate, the now cancelled video game. This is a repack of the Bumblebee that was released in a 2-pack with Soundwave prior. Voyager Class, Wave 23. First up, we have Junkie on Scrap Heap. I intended to pick this guy up and never got around to it, but he has a heavy retool of Wreck-Gar, providing another Junkion for our lineup. Next, we have Gamer Edition Starscream from War for Cybertron, definitely a figure that can be repainted many times. Voyager Class, Wave 24. The only Voyager from Wave 24 is Shockwave from the Bumblebee movie. It's nice to finally see this design enter the line, especially in a year with so many concept figures. Voyager Class, Wave 25. Here we have Skywarp from the Bumblebee movie, which of course is a repaint of Starscream from the Bumblebee movie that came out a few years ago. Honestly surprised it took this long. Voyager Class, Wave 26. The only figure from Wave 26 is Ratchet from Transformers War for Cybertron. Interesting to note that there's a lot of waves this year that only have a single figure in them. Leader Class, Wave 14. Here we have concept art Megatron, the most obvious thing to do that wasn't in the Bumblebee movie, and they took a lot of liberties with the way the transformation worked, but this was based on some concept art that had made it on toy packaging. We also saw a re-release of Optimus Primal. This time he has an open face as opposed to the mouth plate that was on the first release. Leader Class, Wave 15. The final G1 Dinobot, Swoop, finally enters the line. Swoop here was a long time coming, and he looks really nice. I like a lot of the way they did the details and proportions on him. He of course contains 2 different blasters, which are removable from his wings, and you can remove the tips of these blasters, so if you wanted to add blast effects. And he comes with 2 swords. Now he only came with 1 sword in his original toy, so what's the other one for? Well, of course it's for Grimlock, because Grimlock didn't include his sword originally since they were going for animation accuracy, but now he has it. Swoop's Dino mode is a giant block with wings, but that's exactly how it's always looked. And a neat point of articulation is he actually can sit up like he did a lot in the movie and in the show itself. And overall, it's really nice to have all the Dinobots complete in leader class form. They look fantastic together. But of course they look even better in dinosaur mode, their more distinctive features. It's really cool to get a nice set of Dinobots after so long. Leader Class, Wave 16. It's Mr. Controversial, Autobot Springer. This is a heavy retool of the Siege Springer, which was sold at a Voyager Class price point, whereas this one is sold at the Leader Class. You can see the Siege on the left and the Leader on the right. I think the new one looks a lot better and a lot closer to the original G1 Springer design, though I'm trying to figure out why he's $20 more. Well, part of that equation is the 2 swords, 2 pistols, 1 larger gun, 1 missile, and 1 hammer he comes with, which as an added benefit can be stored all over the figure, including the giant missile, which I do appreciate. He also includes built-in rockets into his arms, which is a scene specific to the movie. The 2 pistols he comes with were on the original Voyager Class figure, and they kind of work into the vehicle modes. The larger gun is the one we did see in animation, and he has been given articulated fingers, which is a nice bonus. He comes with 2 different swords this time, one that actually turns into the helicopter rotors, and another that's more animation accurate that doesn't. The missile that was for the giant missile launcher that they shot at Devastator is a cool inclusion because that's very specific to Springer as a character. And the hammer they threw in because they had extra plastic budget on the mold, and hey, if they're going to charge us extra, throw in all the extras you want. Ultimately, Springer probably could have just come with the larger rifle and the sword that transforms, but alas, this is what we got. Transforming him to car mode is pretty much exactly the same as the Siege toy before, with some minor tweaks with the arm retools. And the helicopter mode is modified from that pretty simply. Plus a really nice spin on the rotor. Springer is one of those figures where I don't feel like he's worth the price point, but considering I upgraded everybody else from the '86 movie, it felt worth it in the end just to complete the set and make everybody look clean and nice and as animation accurate as we're gonna get. Commander Class. Our Commander Class figure of the year is Optimus Prime from the 1986 movie. I actually didn't pick this one up. I'm really happy with the Earthrise Prime personally, and this one, while looking like the most fantastic version of G1 Prime just felt like another G1 Prime to me at the end of the day, and I'm a little bit burned out on that version of the character, but I do say he looks fantastic from everything I've seen. Fan channel exclusive. So the one fan channel exclusive was a Revenge of the Fallen multi-pack to represent 15 years of the movie being out. But this is a re-release of Jetfire, Optimus Prime, and the RC triplets. And so if you'd missed any of those prior, this is a good set to get. Target exclusives. There was a Target exclusive re-release of Blaster in animation-accurate colors with no clear plastic this time, which also means his cassette buddy Eject is also not clear plastic, which is an improvement. And then continuing their line of Morbid 2-packs, we have Brawn and Ratchet as they are dying in the opening of the movie. And Brawn does have a blast effect port in his chest, so they did it right. Collaborative figures. The third release in the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover line is Soundwave as the Dreadnought Thunder Machine, which includes Zartan Zarana and a figure of Ravage. The fourth Transformers G.I. Joe collab figure is Autobot Cup as the Triple T with Sergeant Slaughter and Leatherneck. Now, probably the biggest pop culture deal in collaborative was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover known as Party Wallop. This is a Transformer designed to turn into the Party Wagon from TMNT, but its robot mode is designed in 5 different ways. This version, which you can either have the front chest piece attached or used as a shield, is kind of a generic turtle known as Party Wallop. And much like the ninjas they are, all the extra accessories are hidden throughout. Alternate bandana pieces, alternate weapons in the backpack. There's nunchucks hidden under the shoulder pads, which are really, really cool. You can also find katanas, and you can find sais. Plus, there's even hidden pizza behind the front hubcap. And transforming this guy includes removing the top of his head. You can put any bandana color on him, and then the belt buckle opens up and rotates to whichever logo you need. This allows you to configure him as Leonardo with the twin katanas and the blue headband, as Raphael with the twin sais and the red headband, as Michelangelo with the twin nunchucks, which include actual chain pieces, and an orange bandana, or Donatello with the bow staff and the purple bandana. Now, the transformation is incredibly finicky, but it does manage to compress down into a cartoon-accurate party wagon from Ninja Turtles. There even is articulating guns on the top, and they really nailed all the details. And surprisingly, it passed the roll test pretty good. Next, we have a collaboration with Knight Rider in the form of Agent Knight. Taking the design ideas of Michael Knight from the Knight Rider series and incorporating them into a robot is super cool. He also includes 2 different blasters, a longer rifle type, as well as a smaller pistol type. And these 2 combine as well into a larger weapon. Plus, of course, he has his iconic watch, which is a removable piece, interestingly enough. So Agent Knight, being an icon of the 80s, goes great alongside Gigawatt and Party Wallop. It's kind of amazing to see things like this in Transformers. And size-wise, Agent Knight at a $50 price point is almost leader size, and Swoop is a little bit bigger of a leader, so he's actually a pretty big robot. Of course, Agent Knight does transform into the car itself. Kit is represented here with several cool features. Not only can he roll incredibly well, and his headlights open, but pushing the button on his hood, it's amazing to get a sound feature in a Transformer nowadays, and for this, it had to be done to make it perfect. And this is honestly my favorite collab figure they've ever done. Hasbro Pulse exclusive, Comic Edition. To represent the 40th anniversary of the Transformers, which started in the pages of Marvel Comics, we have Shockwave. Shockwave here is presented in comic shading and comic colors with the brighter purples that we saw in the book. And as you can see, he is a direct repaint of the Siege Shockwave from before, though he doesn't come with the extra armor add-on bits. I really like the way this Shockwave looks. I like it more than the Siege one. It really pops, and the comic shading is put in there to be an accent without being distracting. And naturally, he turns into his submarine mode that I totally flipped upside down by accident and not intentional. As a really cool bonus, he comes with the severed head of Optimus Prime on a plate. If you're confused why this is, go read the original comic, but this is something Shockwave did. And even cooler is the fact you can remove Optimus from the plate, And it fits snugly onto the Earthrise Optimus Prime mold, which is pretty awesome, the fact you actually can put it on there. Which also means now I have a G1 comic version of Optimus Prime, which I really like. Now the second one in the series, of course, is Grimlock, who was even leader of the Autobots for a time in the books. Once again, lots of comic shading and lots of bright comic-inspired colors. I love the extra blues and the overall pastel yellows. He comes with a pretty standard Grimlock loadout. He's got his sword and his blaster, but he also comes with 2 additional swords. He didn't wield these in the comic, but you can give these swords to Sludge and Slug, rounding out more Dinobot swords. And this, of course, means now we have swords for all of the Dinobots, though now we need to get Snarl a gun. Now, the crown placed atop of Grimlock's head is a separate piece that can be removed. In dinosaur mode, Grimlock is looking very regal and very cool, though if you move his head too much, the crown will fall off. As a quick side-by-side, the Studio Series Grimlock is on the left and the comic edition is on the right. You can see how they completely changed the color scheme to match the comic look, and I really like it. And even in the Dino mode, you can see the difference. I love the change to the red eyes in Dino mode, since comic Grimlock was a little sinister. Now, the third figure in the series was not a straight repaint, but a new character in the form of Straxus. I was very disappointed with the Universe Dark Mount figure that was supposed to represent Straxus from all those years ago, and this is a much better version. He's an extensive retool of Galvatron, but it does the job well. He even has his giant axe, and I think the comic details are minimal for this one. He does turn into a cannon mode, which is very Galvatron looking, but does resemble the version of the cannon he turned into in the comics. The next release in the comic line, hailing from the UK versions of the comics, is Emirate Zaron and Flame. Zaron here is a very sleek robot. He is a heavy retool of Siege Reflector, and he is a really cool addition. This character did make it into the US comics as well as the UK ones, but he didn't have any weaponry, nor we ever saw his alt mode. So here are some extra parts to make that happen. Because he does turn into a nice looking tank, and he doesn't just look like he's using the reflector from Siege so directly, it's actually a really neat look. And then we have Autobot Flame, a not so heavy retool of Gamer Edition Megatron. Overall, he looks pretty nice, and I think it captures the look quite well. And the vehicle mode looks pretty good. I like the yellows, the oranges, and the reds. It captures Flame's personality well. This 2-pack is pretty great, and especially for the fact they undersold the price on it by like $5, which was really appreciated. Alright, next up was a San Diego Comic-Con and fan channel exclusive, Death's Head. Death's Head is a bounty hunter who's appeared throughout the Marvel Universe that first appeared in Transformers. The figure is nicely sculpted. Wait, didn't we already do this? Oh, right, we already covered him in the Marvel Legends rundown. You're gonna go have to check that out for the rest of the details. Now, the official 4 comic edition figures all had boxes with connecting artwork, and it was really cool trying to guess who would be up next in this line. I love the comic line and would love to see them try more of these in the future. So I hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of a strange year for Studio Series. As someone that doesn't collect the live-action movie figures that much, it didn't have an impact on me that there was so few live-action movie figures in the grand scheme of things. But for long-term collectors, probably a bummer year because you pretty much just got like a couple things from Rise of the Beasts that were kind of leftovers from the year prior that hadn't made it out yet. And you got Mohawk. Yeah. That was about it. I mean, otherwise you have concept art figures and some core class stuff. It's really getting to that point where there are some more Studio Series figures releasing, like in 2025 we've already seen, that will fill in some gaps, but it does seem like Studio Series is kind of on its way out at this point. I don't see it going much longer. That being said, we did have a good time looking back at this, and if you did enjoy it as well and you hadn't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell, especially so you don't miss out on when the Legacy Rundown comes up, and hit the comments down below and give me your thoughts on 2024 Studio Series as a whole, and also your thoughts on the collab figures and the comic figures. If you want to continue the discussion, consider joining our Discord server. You can join in the link below. Come hang out, come chat about toys, Transformers, comics, Blu-rays, all kinds of good stuff. And if you'd like to help support the channel directly, we have channel memberships available, which includes early access to videos, member-exclusive live streams, and more. Plus, you get special shoutouts like these. Special shout out to our channel members: Captain Tears, Spin-54, Toma K, MasterBen95, Jamie's World, Forever1000, Cameron Meter, Stephen Hino Josa, Modifies Danielle, Josh Frisch, Gokai Gamer, Isabella Lawrence, John Troutman, Dr. Grid, Geek Rage 1337, Doge 9789, Super Shaddix Boom, Capybara Enjoyer, Kyle Birdwell, Crestfallen Thoughts at Midnight, Vangel Giorgio, Mr. Smelly Potato, Star Warrior Robbie, Oni Onichan, B-Tub, Gang One, and Starwho. Thank you all for your support of this channel. If you want to find me on social media, I'm on Blue Sky and Discord at Soundout12. You can also find my wonderful graphic designer who put together the art assets for this video, including the thumbnail, as well as the intro cards for each toy. And you can find him on social media at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for toy news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, Transform and roll out!